Hello, everybody. It's Gahoole here. Just wanted to come to you quick to let you know that this episode of the Big Baby Podcast will not be live streamed. I know a lot of the previous viewers of these shows used to these being live streams. We're doing a new format going forward. We recorded a couple episodes actually when we did this one, and we'll have many more in the coming weeks to go. We're planning to do weekly episodes. Hopefully we'll do our best. And this is the first in our new line of Big Baby podcasts. Me and the great DAIYMO, me and him recorded it. It's a super good video. I encourage you to watch the whole thing. It's a great discussion we had about the new Civil War movie. We have lots of topic ideas. If any of you have suggestions or ideas for topics, leave them in the comments below. We'll be happy to look into them. If you have a movie you want us to review, let us know. There may be a couple more live ones, maybe not with the DAIYMO, but I know for at least one other person wanted to do some kind of podcast with me about movies. I may do it as a Big Baby podcast. Hope everyone's doing good. Sorry I haven't been making videos lately. I'm planning to stream again soon. I went out of town and got sick, but I'll be back soon making more videos. But come on, check out below. The new episode of the brand new Big Baby Podcast starts now. For an intro, I'll probably play some music and then show a video clip. But do you have an idea of what we should do for the intro?
Do we have like a gay cringe saying like grab a Pop-Tart and a seltzer water to get ready to
No, I'm not saying grab a Pop-Tart and a seltzer water. I'm not doing it. We'll do
grab an orange juice and a snack and get ready to talk about a movie.
Grab an orange juice and some vodka and make a screwdriver.
Right. I call it a vodka orange.
A vodka orange.
A vodka orange.
In Minnesota, we call it a screwdriver.
I think everywhere else they call it a screwdriver. But I call it a vodka orange.
It fucks up your stomach. Alright, how about this?
You could have a cold open like that.
Yeah, that's the cold open. We'll do it.
Look how charming and witty they are.
Welcome to the Big Baby Podcast. We're back after a major hiatus, but we're back doing this in a new non-live format. Comment below about how much you hate the non-live format. It won't change the fact we probably aren't going to do a live show.
I won't see it. I don't care.
Yeah, it's just not the schedules don't work out enough to do a regular live show, but we can do irregular recordings, so we're doing that instead. Now, I'm gonna assume host duty. If you want to be host for an episode, you can do it too. You can switch, and I can just sit back and let you talk too. But I'm gonna do it for this first session to see how it goes.
That's fine.
Usually in these podcasts, there's one guy who like sets up the subject, and the other guy kind of like bounces his ideas.
There's a top and bottom dynamic.
There's like the host and like the like the color commentator, like the guy with the flavor. People usually like more.
The guy with the juice.
Yeah, I got no juice. The only juice I got is my screwdriver. That's the only juice I got. Well, anyways,
I call it a vodka orange.
Well, speaking of alcohol, we're here to review the new, as our first episode, we're reviewing the new hit film from A24, Civil War, by, what's the director's name again?
Alex Garland, who directed Ex Machina, Annihilation. He wrote Sunshine.
He wrote 28 Days Later.
28 Days Later. Also, that was probably the biggest one. I just totally just right over my head.
It's probably his most well-known work. It's his newest film. I've seen none of his movies. I've not even seen 28 Days Later. It's my first.
I've not seen 28 Days Later, but I've seen his directorial projects.
I haven't seen Annihilation. I haven't seen Ex Machina. So I'm coming into this not as a Alex Garland fan, although not as an Alex Garland hater either. I don't have a positive or negative perception of the guy. So I'm coming to this thing. DAIMO, do you want me to refer to you as DAIMO, or do you want me to have a new code word? Can we just call each other? Do you want to call each other our real names or our
You can refer to me by my Christian first name. I think the cat's out of the bag.
What?
I don't think we can put the genie back in the bottle.
Well, what do you want going forward? Do you want DAIMO or do you want Ethan? I can cut this bit out, by the way. Don't worry.
Hello?
It's your call. I'm okay with either. I don't mind.
Oh, okay. We're still on. You call me Ethan. I don't care. It's fine.
Call it Ethan? Okay, we'll do Ethan.
My Christian first name.
Okay, then just call me Patrick and don't call me Gahul. Okay, we'll just be like
Well, no, but like, so I just had a persona, but you like are Gahul. That's who you are. There's no persona. There's no character. You are Gahul. I have you saved in my phone as Gahul. That's just who you are.
To be fair, I have you saved as Ethan the DAIMO in quotes Hatchet. So we'll go I'll write it down. Let me just Ethan. Okay. Ethan, I want to get your take first before I give my take, because I feel like we may have opposing takes on this, but I want to hear what you have to say first. What did you think of this movie? Did you like it? Did you not like it?
So I guess full disclosure, we've been shitting on the premise of this film since the trailer's been released.
Yes.
Like, it's a really dumb premise for a film. And all the marketing has been very cringe. Very, very cringe indeed. And so, privately, we've been shitting on it and making fun of it the entire time. So I feel we need to set that up. I liked the movie. It exceeded my expectations, but my expectations were very low. I like Alex Garland, so I had faith that he would be able to deliver something that was good. And I think he did that.
Okay, why do you think that? I kind of want to hear like your full take before I give you my full take, so my take doesn't color your full take quite yet, if that makes sense. I kind of want to hear what did you think the movie did really well? What would you think would be? Why do you think it delivered?
I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed how, in a large sense, I feel like what the film didn't do, I enjoyed a lot. I really like how small scale it was, and how intimate it was. I like that it wasn't like, because I feel like in the year of our Lord 2024, an election year, no doubt, this could have been like a really shitty like political allegory, and it could have been all sorts of things, but it really just was like a character study and it was just like a small little movie with this sort of epic backdrop that was sort of almost irrelevant to the story, but you got to make that paper somehow.
Right. Okay. Do you have anything else to add, or should I give you my take now? What do you think? Do you want me to... because I think we're going to go into debate after this. Do you have anything else you want to do to establish your point, or what would you like to... do you want to keep going?
I'm just trying to think. I think it was very beautiful. I think I saw it in IMAX.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, I haven't been in an IMAX movie, I think, since like Interstellar, so it's been a while. So maybe that's coloring my view a little bit, but I thought it was really beautiful the way it was shot, and the sound design was great, and I thought the combat was very interesting. It felt refreshing to me, this film. So tell me why I'm wrong.
No, well, I'll start off with this. With your last point, I completely agree. I also think this was one of the prettiest movies. I saw it just on a regular screen. I didn't see an IMAX or a big screen. I just saw it a regular size, regular theater screen. It was gorgeous. I think it was one of the prettiest movies I've seen in a long time. And I thought the sound design, I agree, was also excellent. The action was very well shot and edited. I think as a directorial effort in terms of just how it's shot, the action, the tension, especially a lot of the tension in scenes, was very good. Like, great, I would call it great even. And the sound design, the music choice, all of that, the visuals, how it integrates the photography aspect into the film, all of that is really great. It is unfortunately shackled by what I consider to be one of the dumbest scripts I've watched in a movie in maybe the last year. I think this is I think you are right. That's what this movie is a more intimate, small movie, but it's a more intimate, small movie written by a fourth grader. I thought the dialogue and the acting, which may be a result of the poor dialogue, I will give the actors that credit, because there were some actors who were quite good in this movie, but some weren't. But the story being told about the people was really stupid and juvenile in its delivery. And I felt that you can't... And I think most people's problem with this movie will be the average viewer. They'll come away, they'll think it was pretty cool. They'll think that the shots they saw were kind of cool, but they will be confused as to the logic of this world, which makes no fucking sense. Like, that problem overhangs the whole movie, whether you like... not establishing why each side in this civil war is fighting with each other and what the conflict... I mean, they establish why they are trying to kill the president and why the president is evil, essentially. I don't know if they want to call it evil. It's not... It tries to be kind of morally gray and ambiguous, but it establishes why, like, parts of the United States want to kill the president because he's assumed a third term, and he disbanded the FBI, and he did drone strikes on citizens, or airstrikes on citizens, or whatever. And, terrible things. The third one especially, less so the second one. I don't get why they disband the FBI is that bad, but that aspect of the story, but it doesn't explain why, like, there's a Florida alliance, or why California and Texas are working together, or why it's not just, or why chunks of the US aren't involved. It doesn't explain that in a convincing way to establish what's going on. And the problem is that it is such an integral part of what's going on in the movie that even though the story isn't about it, the setting itself is not explained in a way enough that is satisfying. And that wouldn't be so much a problem if the story was more interesting. And it's not a terrible story, but I just felt like the characters were written so poorly, especially Kristen Dunst's character, but a lot of the characters kind of were just weirded out. It had these weird... The dialogue between the characters felt very unnatural and not like... And like an example would be when the Kristen Dunst is spending time talking to this... I guess we can explain the setup of the movie, but before we go into deep and dive into the details, but there's a scene where Kristen Dunst is spending time with this younger photographer girl, whose name escapes me now, but and the conversation is like, the character's like, explain to me how you got started in journalism. And she says, well, you should know, I'm one of your heroes. Oh, well, you did this and this. You shot this photo of Antifa. And she says, oh, you read my Wikipedia article. And it just doesn't feel like a natural, real conversation. And I know I'm making out and delivering the dialogue in kind of a juvenile way here, but that is almost exactly how the dialogue happens on the movie. And I think that's a lot of the dialogue between the main cast of characters does not come off as like a real conversation between people, but and doesn't come off as super exposition either. They do delve into character backstory and spend some time and trying to develop the characters, but it's done in a very like writer way. It's done in like it's done in a very I'm explaining these characters and not we're developing, and these are not real people having real conversations. These are characters explaining things to each other. And I think that's the main problem, that the movie, it's built on the crux of these four characters having this kind of road trip journey, and those characters don't click for me personally, and I think they're quite poorly written. So that's my take. What do you think of that? What do you think? Do you think I'm off base? Think I'm wrong?
I don't disagree about some of the character stuff. I mean, they're like basically cardboard cutouts. Like, they're not terribly deep characters. I found Kirsten Dunst to be sort of distracting. Sure. Everybody else is sort of like a no-name actor. I just found her distracting because it's Kirsten Dunst.
The guy,
I thought that was sort of.
I thought the fat old guy, because he was in Dune recently, so I just recognized him from that. So I think he's like.
Well, yeah, he's like a character actor. He's not like a superstar.
Right.
Not that Kirsten Dunst is really a superstar.
I thought also. I thought her performance was quite wooden in this movie. It was really bad. Maybe am I wrong on this? I thought the way she was acting was really poor. It could be just the direction of the script was bad too. I don't want to blame it all on her. Shockingly, I'm not being the terminal online woman hater here, but I thought like her performance was really like stand out, like in scenes sometimes like stand out bad. I thought.
I think they were trying to make her, like stoic, but it did come off as sort of bland most of the time.
That's true. There's a fine line between stoic and not acting.
Yeah, I agree. But I don't really think the stuff about the setting honestly matters that much, because really it's a story about passing the torch and things like that. It's not really about the wacky setting. Is just an excuse to explore these characters, which if you don't like the characters, that would be a problem.
Yeah, which I didn't. Maybe it's because of the predisposition to not like journalists. Because I suppose we should explain for the people at home. The movie is not really about the Civil War. It's more a backdrop to tell about these war journalists who are coming in to try and get one last interview with the president before he dies. And Kirsten Dunst is this war photographer, and they pick up this young, like, she looks teenage, but I believe she's 23, they say, to like skirt by, but like she is dressed and makeup like a very young girl, I felt. Is that just me? I don't want to be weird about this. Like, her appearance was not that of like a mid-20s person, but like that of like a young, like an 18 or a 19-year-old. That's what I thought. But I suppose it's like minor differences, I guess, but am I off base?
I mean, I think she just looked young. I didn't think she was dressed like Lolita or anything.
No, but I thought about her makeup more. So I thought like the way they applied like the blush to her face and everything. It gave off she's dressed and like makeup very youthfully, which I suppose is a contrast against Kirsten Dunst, who looks very fucking old in this movie.
Grizzled.
She looks grizzled. Maybe it's the purposeful thing, but she looks too young to still be doing this. She looks too young for the age they say she is what I would say. But that's besides the point. The real story is they pick up this war, and they're going through and seeing all the horrors of this war that's going on in America. But really, it's about Kirsten Dunst showing this girl how to be a war journalist and how to be a war photographer. And then kind of also trying to protect her and keep her from this, and then kind of while reflecting on what she's done. But my problem is it makes, maybe it's just me, it makes these war photographer journalists come off as like kind of psychopathic monsters in a way. Less so
they're war journalists.
I agree. I mean that might be the point of the movie, but like, I don't know, like especially the main Mexican guy or Brazilian, wherever he was, the main guy, like how he like essentially
the main Hispanic.
The main Hispanic, he was like more concerned about like not getting his story than like his friend dying, right? Or like, you know, like two of his friends like die in the course of this movie, and he cares more about getting a story than anything else. Like that's all he gives a shit about. And he watches people get executed, and like it's like joking around with like the guys doing it, and it's like I don't find the characters to be like likable, but like they also try to make him like likable and enjoyable and jovial in parts. But I just kept like thinking like the whole time when he's talking and trying to joke around these people is like, I just saw this guy like get a sick perversion out of watching someone die, so how do I relate to him, you know? But maybe that's the point, I guess. I don't know.
I think to some degree that sort of is the point, because when they talked about how they would take photos overseas and not want to bring it home, so I think that was sort of part of the theme. That was sort of like a idea that kind of ran through the movie. But I understand what you're saying for sure. What did you think of the iconic Jesse Plemons with the stupid haircut scene?
That was I think that was the worst scene in the movie. Maybe the worst scene in the movie was actually the sniper scene. That sniper scene felt like I was out of a fucking Marvel movie or something. Okay, but the Plemons scene, I mean, it was fairly tense. There was some good tension and build up, but then he just starts like shooting people, and he's like vaguely racist, but like they don't want to say what kind of racist. It's like the quote is, "What kind of American are you?" But the question is, what kind of racist is he? You know, like he's supposed to be like some kind of racist or whatever, but he's like dressed. Is he like part of like the U.S. military? Is he dressed?
Yeah, he was part of the U.S. military.
But the problem is actually a real world building problem with this movie is that all the armies have the same uniforms, basically, from what I could tell. So like the Western forces are dressed in the same like generic camo uniform as the U.S. Army. So which one was he a part of? Because you really don't know. They don't tell you. So it's kind of impossible to figure out. Is he just joined the Western forces so he can get away with killing people while this war is going on, or is he part of the U.S. Army and killing people to do this while the war is going on? It doesn't show you. It doesn't show you. I think that is a problem. Actually, I think that is a problem with the setting. That problem with the setting not making logical sense distracts you through the whole movie, even though it shouldn't be a part of the movie. It's so stupid. It distracts from what should be a simple story, right? Because it's so in your face about it, and there's so many times when it's like, wait, what's going on here? Who's fighting who? Why are they fighting? You know, you don't know, and I guess it's supposed to not matter, but it does matter, and like not knowing distracts you from the story. At least it distracted me.
I didn't find it terribly distracting, but I don't know. It never became so much of a focus from the main story that I thought it was terribly distracting. I thought it was weird how it opened with the president.
Yeah.
That would probably be the most distracting thing. It's like, that's kind of weird, but...
Well, I think that's because they had to establish... I think if they didn't do that, they wouldn't establish that the president is Trump. Because it is supposed to be Trump, right? I mean, it's Dup. Can we agree that... what's his face? Ron Swanson. What's the actor's name who plays Ron Swanson? The guy, the president.
Nick Offerman.
Nick Offerman is Dup, right? He's Dup in this movie. He's Trump. I don't think there's any debate that that's what he is, right?
Maybe I've just like been out in the sun too long. I never put together that he was supposed to be Trump. If he was supposed to be Trump, they didn't do a very good job. Like, it's such a terrible impression that just like went right over my head. I did see this movie at like 10:30 p.m.
That's fair.
In an IMAX with an empty IMAX theater.
Yeah.
Everyone else in the movie theater was like on their phones, and like they had like their phone lights on, looking for stuff under the seats. There was weird stuff going on. I feel like I was in Civil War in real life.
That's where the real Civil War is going to take place. Is, you know, there was that old guy who shot that guy for, you know, just talking during the movie or whatever. That's the real Civil War in America. People who can actually sit down and enjoy a movie in silence, and people who can't.
The real Civil War is going to happen in Joker Part 2.
Well, we'll talk about that movie when it comes out. We can save that for the next episode. I understand. I think it's, for me, they make it pretty clear that it was Trump. Is Nick Offerman's supposed to be Trump, because it's like, oh, like the whole like, oh, they killed journalists on site in the Capitol. That's Trump. This is the greatest military victory in the history of military victories. That's clearly Trump. Maybe it was more subtle. Maybe they changed it so it's more obvious. Maybe like the idea was that it's supposed to be ambiguous, like what kind of guy the president was. But they're like, well, we got to make it Trump so that it can be topical. That may have been a studio decision for all we know. Because apparently Alex Garland is quitting filmmaking and directing after this movie because it was too much.
Well, he's quitting solo directing. He's going to co-direct something else. He's going to continue to write.
Well, maybe the directing process in this movie was too much because the studio execs were trying to fuck with him too much, potentially. But I
don't know. Maybe as I've gotten older, I sort of appreciate almost the idea of movies more than the actual executions. I sort of admire how ambitious this movie is. Like, I know it's not perfect, but I sort of admire that a movie like this could be made.
I guess I don't disagree.
Which is gay to say out loud, but
I think
I know it's not perfect. It's not even his best movie, but I'm glad I paid almost $60 to see this IMAX movie.
Oh my god, $60? Are you serious?
No, it was $40, but still, once you get popcorn and stuff.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, popcorn adds it up. I think my problem is that this will probably be his most popular film, I imagine. I think a lot of people are probably going to go see this movie because the concept's very, inciting, whatever. It's very, volatile, whatever. I don't know how you would call it, but
controversial, it's edgy.
Controversial, yeah. For me, I felt that the script here, the directing was, in terms of directing visuals and like creating tense moments, it was exceptionally well done. I thought like he would be, I don't know if he's ever done like a war movie, like an actual war movie, but he would be good at like directing like a fucking real war movie, because like the way they shot like the kind of like small scale conflicts between like more so the small scale, the large scale like big final battle was kind of not shot very. I didn't think that was super great, but like the conflict where like the guys wearing the Hawaiian shirts versus the people wearing the U.S. military uniforms, that was a very well made like scene. I really liked it.
Have you ever seen Best in Hell?
No, I haven't seen Best in Hell.
So this is an autistic deep cut. So that's the film that was made by the Wagner Group.
The Wagner,
the Russian mercenary
Oh.
outfit. And so they made movies, and so basically it was just like Ukrainian warfare, the movie, and like there's not even a story. It's just like red team versus blue team.
Yeah.
And that scene, especially when they're behind the walls, reminded me of that movie. Now, I didn't watch all of that movie because there's like literally no story. You don't need to watch all of it. You just need to watch some of it to get the idea of like what modern warfare is like these days. But it reminded me a lot of that. So maybe he watched that movie and just copied it. I got like deja vu.
Potentially, yeah. I guess the question: who were the guys in the Hawaiian shirts in that scene? I really couldn't figure that out. Were they like was that the Florida Alliance? Was that who that was supposed to be? Because they were wearing the Hawaiian shirts. It's like, oh, those guys are from Florida.
I didn't ask these questions. I just I shoved popcorn in my face, and I just accepted what I was seeing. I was more interested in the photography story.
I see. For me, I couldn't get gripped by the photography story because the writing on like the dialogue and the characters was really poor, and I just also don't have any sympathy for. I think most people my age don't have a lot of sympathy for journalists. Maybe do you agree with that? That you find that a lot of journalists they don't you don't really like give a shit about them. You don't think it's a. But that to me this
it's doing a movie.
Well,
it's a movie.
That's true. It is a movie. You're supposed to like the main.
You don't
want
to protect the cute little girl, Gahoole?
well, she not when she's like watching, like instead of helping her save people, she's just like taking photos of them as they die. You know, it's kind of fucked up. That's why it was impossible for me to like get invested in Kristen Dunst's character and care about it as a main character when like it shows in her flashback her like taking photos of that like guy getting set on fire in that like African whatever place. In a flashback they show her like, you know, going through like the Afghanistan war and probably like being like in some conflict in Africa where this guy gets this tire put around him and he gets set on fire, and she takes a photo of him being set on fire and watching it happen. And it's like, so you're gonna see an atrocity happen before you, instead of trying to stop it, you just like record it. It's like, I don't know if I really view you as a morally forgivable person at that point. That's kind of fucked up. I mean, I guess she couldn't have stopped it, otherwise she would have died, but I don't know if that's something you should record or take photos of. Maybe that's just me, but...
If I set myself on fire, you better record it.
No, I'm going to put you out. I'm going to take a fire...
No, you better record it. You better set up a tripod. You better get all of it.
I'm going to take a fire extinguisher and save you instead of letting you fucking die. That's what I would do.
That's why you'll never get a Pulitzer.
That's true. Pulitzer out my ass. Oh, sorry. I'm trying to be more professional and less, you know, profane in this podcast format. I don't want to.
We're using our microphone voices.
This is what we talk like when we're intelligent. Because I might upload this to Spotify as well as YouTube, so diversify the audience a bit, change up the format.
We actually have an offer from maybe you heard of it, a Mr. Joseph Rogan to purchase our podcast.
We just plug DMT. This week's sponsored by Omaha Steaks. Use code BIGBABY at checkout and you can get 3 free babies sent to your house.
This podcast is sponsored by Manscaped. Is your penis too long? Cut it off with scissors. Manscaped scissors.
It's a good one.
Would you recommend Civil War?
You know, I'm of two minds, because I think visually and like audio wise, like the visuals and like as like a movie experience, it wasn't the worst thing. The visuals were really strong. I think like the striking stuff of like the helicopter crashed in like the JCPenney parking lot, or like the forest on fire, well, the sparks burn around them as they drive through it. There's some really like visually beautiful scenes in this movie, and there's some really tense action. But for me, I would not recommend it simply because it is so... The dumbness distracts me. I couldn't get over it. The premise is dumb. The script was quite dumb.
Wrong.
And the dialogue and the acting... I thought some of the acting was good, but a lot of the acting is bad in places. And, like, the dialogue is just stupid. I also didn't bitch about the sniper scene yet. The sniper scene where they're like, oh, who's shooting at who? And you don't know why. And he's like, oh, yeah, well, there's this guy shooting over here. Do you not get it? We're firing at each other. And it's like, no one talks like that. And then the ending of that scene is, guys, I have good news. And
I like that scene. It was so wacky. It was funny. It was in the Christmas, and I got the shot of Kirsten Dunst laying in the little flowers. I like that.
Because, like, there's, like, like, the visuals are nice, and the concept is nice, but, like, the scripting, how they've got the characters to these, like, it's like they go from, like, pretty set piece to pretty set piece, but, like, the scripting of how and why these set pieces are happening and, like, what's going on, there's no logic to it, and it's just fucking stupid shit. There's no, like, rhyme or reason. And to me, that I couldn't get over it. It upset me, and also I just thought like the glorification of some of the brutality, like when they like executed that like guy who's like, please don't shoot me, when they were like just like shooting the White House staffers, and like it kind of felt like it was glorifying it and making it seem like it was a good thing they were killing these unarmed people who were surrendering to them. I didn't like that. That kind of upset me, made me feel gross. So I to me, maybe I'm just becoming a big bitch baby in my old age, but like I can't like watch stuff like that where it's just like needless cruelty like justified. I can't do it. So I would not recommend it for that reason, because it's stupid. it's a stupid dumb movie written for stupid dumb babies, and I'm a smart baby. And I don't like stupid dumb things.
Well, I would recommend it 'cause this is probably as good of a movie you're gonna see in theaters these days.
Well,
It's definitely worth seeing, and it's wacky. It's got a pretty neat little story. If you can forgive some of its flaws, it's a pretty nice time. It's not too long. It's pretty comfortable. It's pretty to look at. Sounds pretty good.
Well, that's a fair assessment. The thing is, you could also say that about the recent film Godzilla x Kong, The Forgotten Empire, or whatever. That movie, you could say the exact same assessment about that movie, and it'd be more true.
I haven't seen that movie because I don't watch shit.
Well, you watch Civil War, and that movie was, Godzilla x Kong is equally dumb, but it's better because it has a big monkey. And the big monkey does punch stuff, and that is way cooler and looks cooler than anything in Civil War. So
I am 100% a Godzilla person. I think Big Monkey's stupid. People who like Big Monkey's stupid. Big Lizard 100%.
Well, good. Luckily for you, the Big Lizard's in the movie too, and he's a major character. He does a lot of stuff.
You're talking about how things don't make sense. Godzilla has an elaborate backstory, but Big Monkey just is there. Because
no, he's an elaborate backstory here too. He's from the Hollow Earth, and there's actually a tribe of other big monkeys that he split off from.
Why are there big monkeys in the Earth?
Because they're giant.
What allegory for World War II horrible tragedy does the Hollow Earth symbolize?
It's actually an allegory for racism and colonialism.
The Hollow Earth?
Yeah, the Hollow Earth.
Well, first off, the Hollow Earth is real. It's like a factual thing, so it's not an allegory for anything.
No, yeah, it is. No, it's not a Hollow Earth. What are you, stupid? Would you go down there?
So you're telling me there aren't lizard people in the Hollow Earth? Okay, idiot.
No, there's giant monkeys in the Hollow Earth. Very different. Very different.
It's just Hollywood lying to us about the truth.
Hollywood?
Hollywood. I didn't like the Godzilla vs. Kong. Didn't Adam Wingard direct this one too?
I think so, yeah.
Adam Wingard is shitty poo-poo director.
I will say this one was better than the last one because there was like a little like Diddy Kong, and he like threw him around, like used him as a weapon. Like he used Diddy Kong to like beat up other.
What's this lady, Sexy Kong? What's her name?
Candy Kong.
Candy Kong. Was there a Candy Kong?
No Candy Kong, but there was a Lanky Kong was in the movie. Lanky Kong was there. That was kind of cool.
So I saw a trailer for Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, me too.
Do you like Planet of the Apes?
No, I don't like any of the new movies particularly.
I was trying to figure out what kind of like autistic freak watches those movies. Like they're still making them. They're making money. Like what kind of freak watches those?
I like the original one with Charlton Heston, like the very first one. I like that movie.
I like the original, all those movies. How they got progressively worse and more batshit insane.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like the old movies quite a bit. I even kind of like the Tim Burton one a little bit. It wasn't great, but it was okay. But
I don't understand like this like weird modern obsession of trying to make monkeys talk but look real. I like that they don't look real. I like how they look like shit.
Yeah, they look like.
Thank you.
Well, the thing is, they're supposed to be like evolved apes. They're not supposed to be like they're not supposed to be like current day monkeys. They're supposed to be like evolved, like semi like half human apes, right? So like having them be these like CG realistic monkeys doesn't work for me, and I'm not interested in these movies, but they keep making them. There's like 10 of them now. How many of them have there been of these new?
And it's all the same story. Like every trailer's like identical.
They have been for the last 4 or 5. The first one was like at least different. It was about how the beginning of the Planet of the Apes started. Hold up. The new one's called Kingdom of the Planet, like Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I didn't particularly like that, but at least it makes sense. It's like, they're like showing how like humanity fell or whatever. But then there's been 1, 2, 3, 4. There's been 4 of these new ones, and like War for the Planet of the Apes, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. It's all the same thing, right?
I don't understand who's watching this, but people like them. Someone does.
It's the same people who like the Batman reboot because it's by the same guy. It's what's his face is directing it. Matt Reeves directs them.
We never talked about. We have so many movies we never talked about. What did you think of the Batman reboot?
The Batman?
Yeah.
I honestly, the thing is, the Riddler is supposed to be like this, like incel video leader who looks supposed to be like me. You know, he's supposed to be literally me, right? And
I like how you're doing like the boomer. You're just like personally offended by every movie.
I will tell you my personal. How about this? I will not. I don't feel like giving you my full thoughts on the Batman here, but I will give you my personal experience watching the Batman in the theater. I went to see the Batman with some of my friends, and we were watching this movie, and we kind of saw it not like late at night, but we went at like we went like 9, right? We went like at a 9 p.m. showing, so it's like middle of the night, but this movie ends up being 3 hours long, and as the movie goes on and on, my friend next to me gets progressively angrier and angrier at the length of the movie, and then as it proceeds onward and onward, the more and more he like gets antsy and fidgety because he's got to go to work in the morning. He didn't realize the movie was going to be 3 hours long when he went in, and he's like becoming more and more like uncomfortable and antsy. And then towards the end, they start playing that like Nirvana song, which he doesn't like, and he just gets like visibly fucking angry. Like he's like fucking like pissed. Like he's like clenching his fist, like ready to like punch something. I thought he was gonna beat me up then and there. And we got out of the movie, and he's like, "Man, that movie fucking sucked. I can't believe how long it was. That fucking song. Like, why is it 3 hours long? Nothing needs to be that long for fucking Batman." And you know what? I kind of agree. I'm with him on it. I'm with him on that.
I remember when that movie came out, I liked it, and then I watched it again on HBO Max, and I'm like, this movie's awful.
It is fucking
Like,
awful.
it's just like pointless.
Zoe Kravitz is bad. The only thing good in it is the Penguin guy in it. The Penguin's good in it.
Yeah, Colin Farrell's good in anything though.
Are you gonna watch the Penguin series on HBO Max?
I might watch like the first episode for sure. I love Colin Farrell.
Yeah, but like, why is the Penguin, the fucking Catwoman, and the Riddler all fucking jammed in this movie? It's like, what the fuck's the point? And
So like a comic book is like 10 pages, right?
Yeah.
An issue of a comic book. So why do we have to have like 9-hour comic book movies then?
Well, because the
I feel like
the story
we should understand.
Well, the reason why, I'll explain why. Because the way comic books work, they're designed to like, steal your money because they don't want to tell you a story. They want you to buy the next issue.
It's a soap opera. It just keeps going on forever.
Right. So like this, an actual full start to finish story of a comic book probably takes like 150 issues, right? Maybe 200 issues to actually get a complete like arc of a comic book finished. So you end up with these, hundreds of. I'm not even joking. I'm not exaggerating on that. If you look at like the omnibuses for like, because I've read like Batman comics, like stories.
I've read Nightfall, that huge Batman Bane comic, and it's like 1,000 pages, and like nothing happens in the entire thing.
Yeah, or like the Long Halloween, or like all these other ones where it's like, okay, well, you're telling this story, but it's taking place between all these issues, and it's like, by the time you get to the story finish, it's like, well, that was a long-ass time, and, like, not much happened. And they got to introduce all these other side characters and stuff, but I thought Robert Pattinson was good in the movie. I thought he was... all the actors were good, and I liked the visuals. I thought the visuals were nice. I liked, like, the designs of, like, the sets and the Batmobile and the action, but the story was dumb. Every story being written now is just dumb doo-doo shit. It's all like baby boo-boo brain dumb crap. And I can't watch 3 hours at least this, like, Civil War, despite what I had to say, it was like less than 2 hours long. It was an hour and 45 minutes. I can watch a dumb movie for less than 2 hours and I'm fine. But I
can't watch anything for 90 minutes. And I have.
That's true. You're gonna watch this episode for almost 90 minutes.
Oh.
But I can't watch 3 hours of the Batman. There's no way.
What did you? People wanted to know what we thought of those meme. It was probably like months ago. Of I guess we could do like a very tiny review of Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Sure, we'll do a catch up since we've been gone for so long. We'll do like the cultural relevancy meter for the last, like, the movies that have been like culturally relevant, like for like the last year since we did a podcast. I thought Oppenheimer was a good movie. I thought Barbie was an okay movie. I thought the set design on Barbie was very good. I thought like the production on both was very good, but the production design on Barbie was actually pretty fantastic. You can't deny that. You can't like look at that and think, wow, that wasn't a very well put together and well made movie. And Ryan Gosling was great in it. And so was Margot Robbie. So I don't have a lot of negatives to say. It's just not a movie made for me. It's a movie made for primarily girls, like little girls and like adult women, which I'm not. So I didn't like it as much as they did, but I don't have like a lot negative to say. Besides that, American Ferrera was fucking annoying in it, and her speech was really annoying and shitty and ruined the movie.
I guess in a word, I think both of those movies actually go very well together because in a word, they're both horribly unfocused. Just like a bunch of things happening on screen for however long.
Do you see the movies by yourself or with your wife?
I always see movies with my wife.
What did your wife think of the scene where Florence Pugh was having sex with Oppenheimer in the interrogation room? Did she like that scene?
I don't remember.
What'd you think of Florence Pugh's milk dud nipples?
More like Florence P.U.
Oh!
But yeah, I don't know. I didn't feel like... I don't like Oppenheimer like at all.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's a good movie. I thought it was like boring and pointless. I feel like I gained nothing from watching Oppenheimer. But I feel like Barbie, I didn't gain anything by watching Barbie, and it was like fine. It was like the most movie fine I've ever seen. But at least it didn't lie to me. It didn't pretend.
And Oppenheimer
but Christopher Nolan lied to me. Christopher Nolan's been lying to me for some time.
That's interesting. I will say I actually liked Oppenheimer. I thought the story was an interesting story. Although I think it gave, I think it danced around too much about the fact that I think it kind of played its hand where it was like, oh, he's being caught by these anti-communist people, but then there actually were legit communists in his group who like sold the secrets of the nuclears to Russia. And it's like, well, yeah, no shit, you're under suspicion, dude. You fucked up and gave the nuclear... You almost destroyed the world, dumbass, by letting them have their nukes. Retard. What was he thinking?
Instead of all the stories in that era, like, his is not terribly interesting. To me, anyway.
That's fair. But it got Robert Downey Jr., the great Iron Man, and he got an Oscar for it, so it's all worth it, my friend.
Cool, I guess.
It's an epic... epic moment for us Redditors.
You have a nice statue paperweight.
Yeah.
You watch Poor Things?
Nope, I did not. I was considering it, but I just ended up not doing it.
Poor Things is, I would say it's pretty good, but it's not like, definitely not Yorgos Lanthimos' best. But it's pretty wacky with the music and like the set designs. Okay. And the sort of premise of the story. But it's not like spectacular.
Okay.
It's my review of Poor Things.
Did you watch Godzilla -1?
I haven't. I watched Shin Godzilla in preparation. I just never got around to watching -1.
Godzilla and Shin Godzilla are like, they're like the perfect pairing because they're very, very similar, but like they're like two sides of the same coin, if that makes sense. Where like they have very similar setups and premises, I guess slightly different settings, but they like have like almost completely different like ethos about what they're about. One's about like the failure of government bureaucracy. I guess they're both about the failure of the government, but one's about like the cutting, like the destruction of red tape and the failure of government bureaucracy. But one's about, and the other one's about like the triumph of a community working together to go overcome hardship. And they're very different movies. I think Godzilla -1 is better but I would say they complement each other so well that I don't think I want to have one without the other. So
I feel like Shin Godzilla was like a comedy.
Sort of, kind of like it's a comedy of errors in a lot of way. I can see that.
So what you're telling me is not your words, Godzilla's words, is that Western style democracy is a failure, and only through the power of racist fascism can we triumph over evil. Your word, not your words. Godzilla says this to the camera. He turns.
Yeah, that's the truth. Yeah, and I can't disagree with that message. It's his message. It's his to say. You know, not ours.
Yeah, I read about that. That he literally only in the black and white showing does Godzilla turn to the camera and say that in perfect English.
He does say that. He does say that exactly.
And that's what got him the Oscar for best special effects.
Everyone's like, "Wow, that Godzilla can really talk, man."
So I don't always agree with him, but he has something to say.
He sure has a way with his words. No, I would recommend Godzilla Minus. If you haven't seen it, I'm sure there's a way to see it eventually. It'll be on Blu-ray or something. You can watch it.
Yeah, I can just buy it on Amazon Prime using promo code Big Baby Podcast to get 20% off your next rental.
What kind of poor ass bitch needs a 20% off coupon for a $2 rental? What? You need to save fucking 40 cents? I'm sorry. That's stupid.
Well, there goes that sponsor.
It's down the drain, buddy. Well, we can call this a wrap, maybe, on our first episode back, reviewing movies we missed from the year, but mostly a Civil War review. Good, solid episode, and we're gonna record another one here, but we'll see you all next time for the next episode, which will be a good one. I think we're gonna do you want to do least favorite tropes in modern movies? You want to do a quick episode on that as well?
Yeah, we could definitely get another one.
Okay, we'll do.
Just keep it rolling.
We'll keep it rolling, but I'll edit this out, obviously. But thanks for watching. Do you want to do an outro?
Thanks for sipping on your Red Bull and vinegar drink.
We should do the Big Baby voice. Thanks for watching. Remember, I'm Big Baby.
I'm Big Baby.
I'm Big Baby.
I'm Big Baby.
Wah! Wah!
Ah, ah.